May the 10th is World Lupus Day, and with it affecting 50,000 people in the UK, we decided to find out more about the potentially deadly disease. And with me, I have Maryann, who suffers from lupus and has written a series of poems in a book about battling the condition as a believer. Maryann, welcome.
Hello. Hi, Cassandra. Thanks for having me.
I'm very happy that you're here. So I'm one of these people where I don't know a lot about lupus. I've heard of people having it, and I've heard of some of the effects, but you as someone that has it, what is lupus for someone that maybe has no idea what it is at all?
Okay, so lupus is an autoimmune disease, which basically means that the immune system has kind of lost track of itself and starts to attack the body. And because it's attacking the body, it affects organs, it affects all the different cells or bodily systems and things like that. So it basically causes you to have different symptoms and different illnesses. It is life-changing, it can be debilitating, and in some cases it can be life-threatening.
Wow. For people that, I mean, you mentioned the symptoms. What are some of the symptoms?
Okay, so most common symptoms of lupus, which are considerably the less serious side of are fatigue. There can be a butterfly rash, which is a rash which is on your nose and on your cheeks. People with lupus suffer from brain and also shortness of breath and anemia. More serious symptoms are joint pain, just chronic pain in general, stiffness, visual loss, depression, shortness of breath. I think I said that already. Shortness of breath. People can have seizures. They can have lesions all over their body, really affect your skin, your scalp, hair loss, just lots of different things. I mean, for some people, it affects kidneys and their lungs. They get inflammation of the lungs. They can get kidney failure, causing them to have or need transplants and things like that. Dialysis, all sorts.
Really, like, it just completely changes your life. It takes 6 years for someone to get a official diagnosis, so that could potentially mean that people could just be walking around with this and just not have any idea that they have it.
Yeah, so basically that's one of the main reasons why I want to raise awareness. It took me 9 years to get a diagnosis. With lupus is that so many of your symptoms kind of mimic other illnesses and other conditions. So you get a lot of misdiagnosis. So the doctors will say to you, oh, well, they think it's this, and it takes for you to continually have different symptoms for them to recognize the fact that as a whole it is lupus. So yeah, for me it took 9 years, but they say the average is 5 to 6 years. And potentially we say 50,000 people in the UK, 5 million people worldwide. However, the numbers are thought to be a lot more than that, because a lot of people don't actually realize they have it.
It's a scary thing. It is a really scary thing, just to not, because it takes so long for someone just to say, okay, that's what it is. And like you said, those symptoms that you've mentioned, they could be anything, like fatigue and tiredness, and that could be a lack of iron, or that could be just so many different things it could be. So it's not people's initial thought to think, oh, maybe this is lupus. It is a really scary thing. If someone suspects that they have it, what would be the first thing that they do?
So, I mean, the first thing that I would recommend for anyone to do is write down a list of all your symptoms, write down everything that you've had, everything that you've experienced, even if you think it's trivial, because not being able to sleep at night, insomnia is a massive symptom. So not being able to sleep at night is actually an indication as well. All of that helps a doctor or consultant actually kind of formulate an idea of what you're going through. The problem with lupus is that there's not one test. It's a combination of tests. So you would have like a biopsy. If you're having skin issues, you'd have blood tests to check your inflammation markers. They'd do a body examination, they'd do MRIs, things like that, and all of those give you the diagnosis. So it's extremely hard and difficult to diagnose. But I would say write down all your symptoms, approach your doctor, and say, the first things first, can I have a blood test? And most blood tests are able to identify whether you've got a vitamin D deficiency, whether you're low iron, and these are again markers of and indications of lupus. I had a really high temperature, fever on the actual day, suffered temporary paralysis. So my legs had stopped working for maybe about 20 minutes. All of these things are happening, but I just don't know why. And yeah, like I said, initially they said, oh, we think you've just got a 24-hour bug because of the paralysis and the high temperature and fever. And I said, no, you can't send me home without actually giving me a follow-up, which they eventually, and I was told to come back a couple of days later. And when I told another consultant, he just basically he looked at me, looked at my scalp, said, you've been having migraines? I said, yeah, lots of migraines. He's like, I've been having trouble getting up in the mornings. I said, oh, that's been going on for years. And he literally said, I think you've got lupus.
It does affect a lot of Black women.
Yeah.
And traditionally, we know that if Black women do go to hospitals and doctors, sometimes Black women are not taken seriously because they're not. So do you think that was a struggle for you as well, that you were going there for so long and they kind of just, no, it's probably not that, or it's probably not this?
I definitely think that was a problem. I definitely, I've spoken about it quite a bit. I remember, so basically lupus also makes you more prone to getting infections. I remember going to GP with a rash, and she was a locum doctor, but the locum doctor said to me, I can't see your rash. And I said to her, I've definitely got a rash. I've got a rash on my arm. She said, well, I'm really sorry, I can't see it. So I had to stand up and kind of put my hand on my arm next to her face and said, can you see this? And then she kind of stepped back and said, I think you've got shingles. And obviously it's contagious. It's not to be taken lightly at all. And it's also a massive indication that something else is wrong with you. When you get shingles, your whole body basically kind of broken down. So at that point, I was really sick. But then because of the color of my skin, because of the complexion I was told that, she couldn't see the rash. Other things that have happened to me. So in particular, lupus travels around the body and it kind of damages your cells and particularly your organs. But with me, it was damaging my blood cells. So it was basically attacking all my blood cells. So I was anemic without losing any blood. I was losing blood because the lupus was killing the cells. So I kept, even once I was diagnosed, the hematologist would say to me, you've got anemia, but it's normal for people of African descent. And I would say, are you sure? Everybody else says this isn't normal. And he was like, no, don't worry about it. Yes, you do have lupus, but your blood levels are normal for people with African descent, of African descent. And till a lot later that I was in hospital. I'd had a hospital stay, and the consultants then said to me, your blood is really sick. This is what the lupus is doing to you. It affects people differently. People have different symptoms, but in your case, it's basically killing your blood. So if I'd gone, or if everybody had gone by what the hematologist said, somebody who's actually trained to look at blood and make diagnosis, they wouldn't have taken it really seriously anyway.
Wow, that is it's just a crazy way of being, that you have to go through so much, even down to the color of your skin and people not seeing the actual rash.
Yeah,
it's really horrendous. So you have written a series of poems and you put them into a book about how to what you've been going through as a believer, as someone with Lupus. Tell us more a little bit about that.
Okay, so there's a lot to say about this, actually. So basically, when I was first diagnosed, I was having a lot of cognitive issues, really of brain fog, memory loss. I wasn't able to speak articulately at all. A lot of the words that I would say would go back to front. I wasn't able to write properly, and I wasn't able to read. And that had been actually going on for a few years, but it kind of progressed. I speak about this in the book. One day I went to my friend's daughter's dedication, and somebody was praying for me, and somebody else, another lady, approached her and said, "Can I take over?" Basically took my hands and said, "I'm going to pray for you. I've been told to come and find you." You know, she said that she had a clear vision in her. You know, she'd been given a clear vision of me, even down to the glasses that I was wearing. I do wear glasses, I just haven't got them on today, but even down to the glasses that I was wearing. And she said that God had told her to tell me that to write. And I was kind of gobsmacked, because I just thought, first of all, how do you know that I like writing? And secondly, I can't write at the moment. So what's that supposed to mean? I can't even think. I can't, like, my brain just kind of felt a bit dead. It kind of questioned my faith even more, because I felt like it was a bit, you know, for want of a better word, it was kind of mocking me, because how can I write something when I can't even think? And slowly I started listening to a lot of Bible verses. I couldn't read, and I just needed something. I just needed kind of like nourishment, and I just needed to hear the word of God. So I would put on, my Bible, use my Bible app and listen to it. And certain verses would stand out to me, so I would highlight them and just go back to them all the time. And these verses would talk about healing. They would talk about having strength. They would talk about faith. They would talk about, you know, not being afraid. And so as my cognitive issues started to diminish, I was medicated. I was having less cognitive issues. I started to write poems, but just about my symptoms and just about how I felt on a day-to-day basis. So it wasn't anything about it. I wasn't using my imagination at all. It was just me saying how I felt. And I joined a few lupus communities and spoke, and in speaking to them, I realized that my poems and my poetry mirrored how a lot of people were feeling. And I realized that, you know, God's call to me wasn't to make up some elaborate story and to use my imagination. It was just to use my experiences, what I was going through day by day, and to share that with the world, to bring awareness, and also to show how faith in Him can help you through, can guide you through the hard times, can, you know, it acts as a big hug, acts as a, you know, a massive caress to keep you going through the tough times, to keep you laughing, to keep you smiling, to keep you, to make you cheerful, even in spite of everything that you're going through. And so my book, The Wolf and the Butterfly, which is actually out today, my book, yay, is a culmination of my poetry and Bible verses, and the Bible verses that I actually highlighted. So they weren't picked for the book. The Bible verses were picked by God themselves. The Bible verses you read are the ones that I highlighted through my time when I wasn't able to read or talk or write.
Oh, wonderful. So, it does sound like a really incredible book. And I know that if people do buy the book, proceeds go to a lupus foundation.
So basically I've self-published the book, and I've set my publishing company up as a non-profit publishing company, and I've decided that all the profits from the book will go to two lupus charities, Lupus UK and Lupus Trust. And basically, one of the other things about lupus is that there isn't government funding. There isn't real government funding into finding a cure, and all the research and everything is done purity. So, you know, we need a lot of donations. We need a lot of support to going towards those charities to help find better medication for lupus, to try and find a cure, to try and, you know, support and have resources to support people that suffer from lupus as well.
That is incredible. Really amazing. So if we want to buy it, where can we buy it from?
Well, it is available online from all good online bookshops. Obviously, you've got Amazon, you've got Waterstones online. For people that are worldwide, there's Barnes and Noble, there's the Book Depository. But I'd say, take a look at my Instagram page.
Oh.
Take a look at my Instagram page. I've got a link on there which leads you to all the different places that you can buy book online. My Instagram page is at Maryann Muses, and it's available online. Type it in, it actually comes up. I was doing a Google search this morning. It's like, oh my gosh, I've read a book.
I'm on Google. It's a great thing.
I'm on Google.
Do make sure you get that, because it is someone that you may know may really benefit from it, or you yourself may benefit from it as well. So Maryann, thank you so much. This has been really enlightening speaking to you.